Hello, I'm Mr. Chu. This is called Trey Arithmetic. This is my attempt to help math students who are struggling. I taught for 24 years in the classroom. I taught middle school and high school, and now I'm making videos for you. So if you ever have any questions, comment. You have to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Mr. Chu. I am Mr. Chu. I call this Trey Arithmetic. It's named after my 4-year-old black tomcat Trey. Occasionally he'll come in. He's not in here right now, and I'll pick him up and put him on. I can also be followed on TikTok and Instagram at Mr. Chu. This lesson's about Pythagorean Theorem and real-world applications. We're going to be working problems A and B, which were challenge problems that I challenge students with. Remember, you have to have a right triangle with two legs that make up the right angle and the hypotenuse. And then we round each side length to the nearest tenth using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in my first challenge problem, these are both ladder problems. You could have kite problems, you could have problems with shadows, you could have problems with directional distance on a map. There's all kinds of things you can use the Pythagorean Theorem for real-world applications. Carpenters use it all the time to see if a door has been framed up properly or a window. So in this case, we've got a building here which is 20 feet tall. We have a ladder up to this window that is 24 feet long. And we need to know how far do we put the ladder away for this to work. Now, sometimes your ladder gets way too steep and it's unsafe and it would be violating OSHA rules. But in this case, it is just a thrown together problem just to see how to do it. And then we'll know if it really is too steep. So I take and write down the Pythagorean Theorem and substitute my values in. I don't know what A is. That's what I'm solving for. But I know that B is 20 feet, and I'm going to square that. C is 24 feet, and I'm going to square that. So I have A squared plus 20 feet squared is 400 feet squared. And 24 feet squared, I'm not sure because I don't memorize. I'm going to use my TI-30 calculator. Had to turn it on. So 24 x squared equals 576. And some of you maybe already knew that. Maybe you committed it to memory. I don't waste my brain cells for that because I can use technology. I'm going to solve this by subtracting 400 feet squared from the left and the right. So this is A squared equals 176 feet squared. Remember how we solve these now? We take the square root of the left of the A squared and the square root of the 176. And when I do that, I'm going to get A. I'm going to write it right here. And it's about, take my calculator. Since I'm using a TI, I hit second, x squared, gives me my square root. 176, 13.266. And I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So I underline that 2. I look to the right. Is that first 6, 5 greater than or equal to 5? Yes. So that means my 2 bumps up to a 3. 13.3 feet. So this is 13.3 feet. And that seems like an awful long way to be away from there, which means that we would probably shorten the ladder up so that we would not fall and so that it would be safer. So that just gives you an idea of why we do this. All right, so now second example. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I know my A is 5 feet, and I square that. Don't know my B, but I know that my 16 feet is my C, and I square that. This is 25 feet squared plus B squared equals, and if you don't know, and I do know, but just use your calculator to find 16 x squared, 256. So I subtract my 25 feet squared from the left and my 25 feet squared from the right. I would always tell my students, always make sure that your inverse operation crosses something out. And since that's a 0 and 0 plus b squared is b squared, I can just write the b squared here. And when I subtract this, now I have a feeling when I thought this one was too flat, this one may be too steep, but we won't know that until we finish it. That's why we need to be able to apply and do these real world applications. I take the square root of the left, square root of the right. Take my calculator, second x squared 231, 15.198. 15.198. I round to the nearest tenth. I look to the right. Is a 9 greater than or equal to 5? It sure is, and this unit is feet, which means I round up. So my B equals 15.2 feet. So that means I have a 16-foot ladder that's going 15.2 feet. I need a longer ladder. Real-world applications are very important. I will link you back to the original lesson here. At the end, you can click on it if you're in my YouTube. So YouTube at Mr.KeithyChew would be the best way to be following me through my videos. You can follow me on TikTok and see the videos, but you're going to have to click to find part 2. And on TikTok and Instagram, follow me at Mr. KeithyChew. I am Mr. Chew. This is Trey Arithmetic. I want to help you. Always make sure if you have a question, and Bear's coughing there saying, don't get choked up on this. Bear is my peekapoo that I named my algebra program after, Bear Algebra. I'll see you next time on Trey Arithmetic.